my name is Victor Midgley, and welcome to this webcast, An Introduction to Perfect People. I would like to thank you for taking time out of your day and your schedule to listen to this information, and it is my hope that you'll find it to be enlightening and interesting information. So let's get started. What is Perfect People? Well, Perfect People is a program that I developed about 20 years ago, designed to help individuals have effective conversation and communication with other people. Now, the program is designed to help anybody progress and prosper in their life. From the beginning of time, the human species has always been in a progressive state, always looking for a better way to prosper and to grow. From caveman time to Roman times to the time that we even placed man on the moon. And if you think about this and look around you, we as human beings, no matter where we are on the globe, we're progressing, we're growing. We build cities with super tall skyscrapers. We take time to celebrate birthdays, celebrate advancing in our years. We celebrate graduations. We even have publications that keep tabs on famous people in their continued progress. We as human beings grow. We grow things. We grow gardens. We grow our business. We grow cities. And we even grow up. And if you take a look around you, this is something that we talk about. It is a topic of conversation about anywhere you go where we talk about growth and progress. So I heard an interesting quote that says, if you don't like progress, you're really going to hate extinction. And as you think about that, as human beings, that is our purpose. Our purpose on this earth is to progress and to prosper and to grow. And if you're not progressing, then you are digressing. If I come across somebody who is unhappy with their life, I can almost always attribute that to the fact that they feel that they are not progressing or prospering in their life. So this becomes very interesting. How then do we progress and prosper? And I think that society has really confused that in human beings. And so there's a great deal of confusion with how we progress and prosper in life. Well, I can point to the very key element to progress in life, and that is with other human beings. I appreciate that we live in a day and age where technology is really taking over the world, and certainly I have nothing against technology. Technology contributes to progress and prosperity, but the greatest resource that you and I have to progress and to prosper are other human beings. So effective conversation is the key to progress. And it doesn't matter whether you are conversing with colleagues at work, if you've gone shopping and you need help from one of the associates, if you need to contact customer service, or if you're just out socializing with your friends. It is very important to put innovation in your conversation. And that's really the whole key and the whole purpose for Perfect People. Now, what's interesting to me about society is that we're told all day long the things that we should be doing. You should do this, you should do that, but very rarely do we ever hear the how-to. And again, that is one of the key points for the Perfect People program, is that we break down the how-to. And that's what I want to share with you today. So the how-to involves 3 very important steps. Step number 1 is that there must be intelligent information. Now, what is intelligent information? Intelligent information is information that is tested and proven. Now, the Perfect People program is, again, something I developed more than 20 years ago, and I have taught thousands of people and helped advance careers of thousands of people. The information that I share in Perfect People is proven and is tested. Step number 2 is to obtain and retain the information. So what good is intelligent information if you don't get it, if you don't receive it? Well, how good is it if you can't remember it? And this, unfortunately, is what happens with many of training programs. They fall short of exercises that help you remember the information. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is you must apply and perfect the information. You will not yield positive results if you do not apply properly the information that you receive. Now let's go back to step number 1, the intelligent information. Keys to a perfect people conversation. Now keep in mind that this information I'm going to share with you is an overview, and there are additional videos and audio downloads that you can get at the website, at myperfectpeople.com website, that you can dive deeper into the lessons. But for our purposes here, this information that I will be sharing with you is an overview. So this is what we teach in terms of basic principles. There are 4 key lessons. 1 is getting into the zone, 2 is being a true people person, and 3 is connecting with all types of people, and then lesson number 4, the secret to motivating people. We also teach using the pyramid principle, which is that the first lessons that you receive will tend to seem like a lot of information, but as you practice and understand that first section, which is conditioning your perception of people, then you find that the next lesson, your approach to dealing with people, becomes less information, becomes much simpler, and then connecting with people, then your rise to success, ultimately leading you to this powerful experience that you will have with this program. In preparation to receiving these lessons, there are 5 key points that I would like for you to keep in mind. Number 1 is understand why you do the things that you do. It is very important for you to have a good solid definition of why you do the things that you do. Key number 2 is desire. Understand that desire is the fuel that creates action. Number 3 is that you must have a healthy perception of people. I believe that society is teaching people that other people are obstacles more than they are a resource. But people are a resource. When you think about the things that you have in your life, whether it be a good job or whether it be a car or whether it be your home or whatever it is, it took other people for you to accomplish that. Whether they referred you to it or whether they guided you or whether they even pointed you to that opportunity or whether they referred you or gave you even a recommendation. But it does take people. The key is for us to have effective communication with other people and to be able to connect with other people in a way that they become a resource to you. Number 4 is to ask questions and pay attention. Number 5 is practice through repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill. The more you do something, the more conditioned your actions become to that, and the more automatic it becomes to that. So, let's briefly go over the lessons. Lesson number 1 is, what is the zone? The zone is an emotional state where you perform at a high level. Also very important to understand that you are in complete control of your mood. Again, society would like to teach us that conditions and circumstances and other people control our moods, when that is not the case. When you accept the fact that you are in complete control of your mood, and then we teach you how to control your mood through your body and through your thoughts, then you can change your mood from a bad mood into a good mood instantly. And it is important to understand that there are 2 things that you are in complete control of, and that is the things that you do with your body and the thoughts that you have. Your body consists of a bunch of molecules, and they're all jumping in different directions, and we call this vibration. To get yourself into a peak performance, it is important to get all your molecules to be aligned, that your vibration is powerful and working towards one cause. Now, the best way to get your vibration to be aligned is to be active, and then be mindful of the things that you do to your body and the things that you put into your body. Also, the other thing that you have complete control of are your thoughts. It is very important to understand that to have empowering thoughts requires conditioning of your mind. The one thing that many people do not realize is that during the course of the day, you are filling your subconscious mind with answers to questions that you ask yourself. And your entire life is an experience, and you're constantly evaluating your life by asking questions. The answers to those questions come from what you have placed in your mind. So let me give you an example. When you wake up in the morning, and some have this experience and some don't, but you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like getting up. So the first thought, if you will, that comes to your mind is indeed a question. And that question may be, oh, why do I have to get up so early? Whenever you ask a question, your brain is programmed to automatically give you an answer. And the answer it will give you is the answer that you have filled in your mind over the course of time. That answer could be because you accepted this job that you really didn't want. And can you imagine the impact that even that one thought would have on the start of your day? And this may create a pattern for the rest of your day where you're asking yourself questions where you're getting a negative answer. And so it's very important to understand the power of questions. So again, questions are an evaluation, and it's very important to understand the why questions versus the what, where, when, and how questions. So we use the example of why questions that you could ask yourself that, and it's not always the case, but why questions will tend to give you a negative answer more than the what, where, when, and how questions. So for example, if you started your day by saying, what can I do today that'll make a difference in my job, make a difference in my life, and make a difference in the lives of other people, well then your brain starts to go to work and give you answers that you have over the course of time given it. You may ask yourself the question, well, how can I accomplish this task today and enjoy the process? When you frame a question that way, your brain begins to give you a more empowering answer. So who will I meet today that I've never met before that will be a great resource to me in my life? Again, your brain starts to feed you the answer. When you start getting answers to questions like that, you become more empowered, and good things happen for you during the course of the day, and largely because you start to feel very good about your day. You feel good inside, you feel good about your thoughts, and when you feel good, good things happen. Lesson number 2 is being a true people person. Now I know a lot of people make the claim that they are a people person, and I think it's very important to understand what it means to be a people person. To be a people person means that you can connect with people by first understanding what your basic elements of human interaction are and using those appropriately. The basic elements of our human interaction are what I call the 3 V's. Are visual, vocal, and verbal elements. Visual is everything that you can see or visualize. Vocal includes your tones, your sounds, your pace, the inflection of your voice. And verbal includes all your words. Now, it's very important to understand how these elements are used. A study was conducted by Stanford University that proved this about our human elements. Number 1 is our visual element makes up 55% of all human communication, while our vocal element makes up 38% of all our human communication, while our verbal element makes up 7% of our human communication. And this is a very interesting study because I think most people would tend to believe that the words that we speak, our verbal communication, is the most powerful element that we have. We come to find that that is not true, that our vocal and our visual elements are the most powerful elements. So again, this is an overview. So in our lessons we talk in greater depth about how to use those elements. So lesson number 3 is connecting with all types of people. And this is very important because in my work with training and coaching customer service departments and sales departments, I hear very often when there is a frustrating conversation that is the other person's fault, that the other person didn't understand, the other person didn't get it. And what we teach in our lessons is that you can make a connection with all types of people, regardless of what you know about them, regardless of their background, and regardless of how they approach their conversation with you. And it all begins with building rapport. Rapport in its simplest form is to have something in common with another person, to have some commonality or sameness. How do people typically create rapport? Well, typically they do it through words. They attempt to find something in common with another person by talking to them, trying to find some common ground. And if you remember that the words that we use, the verbal element that we have, is the weakest form of communication. So the best way to begin to create rapport with somebody is to match and to mirror their communication type. And what I mean by that is that all human beings throughout their lives will utilize their senses to make sense of the world. And as time goes on, they tend to favor one communication element over another element. For instance, there are people that communicate using their visual element above other tools that they may have to communicate. So throughout our lives, human beings will utilize their senses to make sense of the world, and that is their preference for how they communicate with other people. So for instance, there are people who use their visual sense to make sense of things, and there are others that will use their auditory sense to make sense of things, and others that will use their kinesthetic sense to make sense of things. And what I mean by that is that people who predominantly use their visual sense, well, they have to see things, they have to visualize things in order for them to make sense to them. And it is very important to pay attention and to understand if a person is in a visual mode or not. Now, people who are in a visual mode will tend to speak rapidly because they have all these pictures in their head and they've got all these thoughts and they just need to get them out. And it doesn't matter to them how it sounds or how you feel about it. They just need to get them out, so they talk very, very rapidly. And you may know people like that in your life that are predominantly visual. Auditory people, on the other hand, for them to get a sense of things, they need to have balance in their tones. It needs to sound right. And so they like the way that particular words sound. They like balance in tone. And people who are auditory can get a sense of things when another person is communicating with them in an auditory mode. Now, kinesthetic people, on the other hand, well, they're more into their feelings. And they need to get a feel for things, a sense for things. And oftentimes these type of people speak slower, at a slower pace, and they will use kinesthetic words such as feel and sense and understand. Now, what's important to understand about kinesthetic people, and again, this is a basic overview. The thing to understand about kinesthetic people is there are two types of kinesthetic people. I call them type A and type B. A type A kinesthetic person may speak at a slower pace, and they just need to get a feel for things. But then a type B kinesthetic person is a little more rowdy, if you will. They're more excited, and sometimes they're angry, and you can pick out those type of people also. But what's important to understand about building rapport with another person is to understand what mode, what sense they are using to communicate, and then to match that. Because when a visual person gets together with a kinesthetic person, there's not a connection. And when an auditory person gets together with a kinesthetic person or with a visual person, you can understand that there's not a match there. And maybe you can find examples in your own life where you see where this has been a mismatch. When you match another person's communication style, then you really stand a very, very good chance of building rapport with them. And I've got many stories that you'll hear in the audio downloads if you go to the audio downloads. I'll talk about that. So now lesson number 4 is how to motivate people. And this is really one of my most favorite lessons because this made a dramatic change in my own career when I learned this and I understood this and then I put it into practice. Here's what I learned many, many years ago, and that is that science has now advanced to a point that we can understand so much more about human interaction than we ever knew before. And one thing that we have come to learn is that human beings are actually very predictable. And what I mean by that is that we organize our brains in a very specific way. And when we master that understanding, we have far greater effectiveness in our interaction and our communication with other people. Now again, what I mean by predictable is that we organize our brains in a very specific way, and we organize them by programming our brains, so to speak. And what science refers this phrase to is metaprograms. So metaprograms are programs that we use to become convinced of something. And there are 4 metaprograms that I want to share with you in this brief overview. And the first metaprogram is the direction metaprogram. The direction metaprogram will tell you which direction a person is moving in, because all people will move in one of two directions. They either move towards pleasure or away from pain. The second metaprogram is the reason metaprogram. And the reason metaprogram will tell you why somebody does something, the reason for why they do it. People will do things for one of two reasons. They either do it out of possibility or they do it out of necessity. So when we are motivated and moved to do something, we do it because of all the great and wonderful things that could come from doing it, or we do it because we perceive there is no other choice. That is necessity. And again, we dive into this much deeper into how to communicate with a person that perceives doing something out of possibility or out of necessity. The third metaprogram is the frame of reference metaprogram. Now this metaprogram will tell you again why somebody is motivated to do something. They are motivated by one of two reasons, either how they perceive it internally or how other people perceive it. If you're going to motivate somebody to buy into your ideas, it's very important to understand what their frame of reference is. Do they judge the value of something by what they think, or do they judge the value of something by what other people think? The fourth program is what I call the senses program, because this is how people become convinced of something. They either need to see it to believe it, they need to hear it to believe it, or they need to feel it to believe it. And again, it's important to pay attention to understand how an individual becomes convinced of something. So in short, these are the basic elements that we teach people. And when you learn these four simple truths, amazing things will occur in your life. And you'll be able to interact and communicate with other people in a way that they will really become a resource to you in your life. So let me share briefly step number 2, to obtain and to retain. And what we do to help you obtain and retain the information is we provide a lot of information on our website at myperfectpeople.com. And we also provide a lot of tools that help you retain the information, to remember the information. You can go back and listen to these audio downloads. You can go back and listen to the videos. You can go back and watch the videos. So there's a lot of information on our website that will help you to obtain and retain the information. So number 3 is to apply and perfect the information. And this is really what our business is all about. We're all about the one-on-one coaching, the ongoing training, and the consulting that we do for your business. In addition to those things, we provide webinars and seminars. We have a certification program and even a mentoring program. And all our programs are designed to help individuals, to help teams, or to even help companies. So remember that if you want to be more, do more, get more, it is as easy as 1, 2, 3. My name is Victor Midgley, and I'm certainly grateful that you had taken some time to listen to this program. And again, this was a brief overview, and I hope that it entices you to want to learn more. And you can do that by contacting me either by phone or by email. Certainly I would encourage you to continue to go back to our website as we continue to post new audio downloads and new videos that will help you in your career. So I hope you enjoyed this program. Again, I thank you for taking time, and I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.